Well, time now for us to do the news, and the quantity of PPE supplied to schools have come into question as claims about these quantities and the quality supplied do not, well, reflect the reality in various schools as the supplies have been done in the Oti region. Now, Joy News checks in some of these schools revealed that basic schools continue to grapple with insufficient PPEs 3 weeks after schools were supposed to have reopened for academic work. Some of these schools would have to improvise due to the non-supply of the complementing component of the PPEs, especially Veronica Bucket. Correspondent Peter Senu has been doing some checks and has more in the following report.
A visit to at least a district, 4 basic schools and checks from other schools in various districts across the region revealed that both private and public basic schools continue to grapple with insufficient PPEs. For the face masks, students have at least 2 each. Just a few of them, for one reason or the other, have 1 each. Some of them have been speaking to Joy News. Deku Godwin and Rabiu Sharif are students at the Roman Catholic Junior High School in Kejebi.
Anytime I close from school, when I went home, I wash it and then put it on the line. When it's dried, I iron it nicely and put it back in my bag.
But the weather now is very bad. Does it get dry properly before you wear it every morning?
Not always.
Not always.
So I iron it for it to dry well.
Before you use it?
Yes. But I think they should help us so that they will give us another one, so that we'll add it to at least 2.
The government gave us 1 and it is not enough for us for use it. That's why sometimes you see that we have been using 1. So we are just there. So we need government to provide new ones for us so that it can be help us for our face. Because yesterday I wear it and I wash it, that's why I didn't wear it today.
Some teachers also share their concerns. George Atara is a teacher at the RC Junior High School.
Now the weather is bad, and for that reason, we need to wash our nose bags because we don't have enough of them. Each teacher on this staff is having only 1 for now. So after school, you need to wash it and then dry it. Make sure you wear it to school the following morning. The weather is bad. You can't, at times it doesn't dry. So we are calling on people in authority to maybe supply us up to the 3 that we have been promised. Apart from that, the sanitizers, the rate at which they are going. For instance, I was using my personal one before we were supplied with this. I started using this one only on Monday. Because when you're marking the exercise books, after marking 1 or 2, you need to sanitize because we didn't know whether they are infected or not. If we have more, I think it will do us good.
It is the same state of affairs in other schools as teachers and students continue to depend on improvised hand-washing setups that do not serve the large numbers. This often leads to crowding during break periods just because the containers provided did not come with the appropriate fitting taps and those on the open market do not fit properly. We are told this is a regional challenge. Francis Nogbeji is a headmaster for the Roman Catholic Basic School in Kejebi.
Some children are having 1 while others have 2.
How come that?
They said they are not enough. They will bring us more.
Who said they are not enough?
It is from the directorate. The Veronica buckets were supplied, the liquid soap were also given, but the Veronica buckets are without tap. So currently we are using the tippy tap, awaiting the taps to come.
So considering that and then the number of students you are handling, is this serving the number?
It is not serving the number. Even right now we are looking for another gallon to mount another one, another additional tippy tap. It is not okay, but in the absence of the doubt, that is what we have now. So that's the best we are using.
Joy News can confirm that some additional quantities of face masks have been received by district directorates for distribution. Peter Senu for Joy News.
Well, let's turn attention to some registration issues. And the voter registration exercise in the Kruger constituency was suspended for about 30 minutes and COVID-19 health protocols as well disregarded after a scuffle broke out between some applicants who had come to register at one of the registration centers. It is still unclear what caused the fight, but some persons involved in the open brawl allege the busing of non-resident to the registration center. Well, Maxwell Akbaba has more in this report.
Voter registration here in the Krowa constituency has been largely smooth, with residents going about registering without any technical hitches. A lot of them also we found heeding to the COVID-19 protocol. Sometimes though, the social distancing becomes, a challenge. But at one of the registration centers, we witnessed what can best be described as a free-for-all fight between some of the applicants who had come there to register. Well, the mystery of this whole fight is that we do not know the genesis of the fight. Even the police officers who are there to maintain law and order do not know the cause of that disagreement, which resulted in a free-for-all fight, a serious scuffle that had to take police intervention to separate. We've been speaking to the commander, Nungwa commander. He's been explaining to us, trying to help us get a sense of the disagreements that we saw.
I will not say I have any idea. All we heard was that there was a scuffle here. And that's why we came here to maintain peace. And that's what we have done. Yes, my officers on the ground, they were basically ensuring that the process goes on successfully. And so what happened outside, they will not be able to tell us what happened outside. Okay. If it happened on the registration tables, of course, they were there to see anything. But this happened outside, so they have no idea what actually happened outside. But as the MCE said, it was a scuffle between...
Yeah, but we saw the fight. We saw people throwing punches and all of that.
Okay, we didn't see that.
To the extent that some of your men had to leave the scene because it looked quite dangerous.
With my men, so there was nothing like our men left the scene. I came with them. We didn't see the free-for-all fight, but what we know for sure is that there were skirmishes here. But the good news is that order has been restored, and the process is ongoing.
Yeah, but we want to know what caused, the fight.
That's why I was telling you that give us time, because you can't stand in the middle of the problem and be assigning reasons. Okay, when calm is restored, we will find out. We will investigate to find out what is the cause, what caused the skirmishes. Okay, there are enough policemen here. I am here myself. We will make sure that order is followed to the letter.
Well, the MCE for the area says that the people who engaged in that scuffle, in that fight, are actually brothers. And once in a while, there's disagreements, and that's how best they resolve it.
No, what they are doing is that they allow people to come in when there are spaces on the chairs. That is what the police does. But I think when we were coming in, some people forced their way into the system, and that is what caused all the skirmishes. But ideally, for the past 2-3 days, it's been very, very cool, very, very sober. But when we were coming in, I think some people forced their way in. What the police does is that when the chairs are empty, then they allow 5, or because of social distancing, they allow 5 or 6 people to come in. So that is what really happened. Already had 2 police officers here, but the crowd was much bigger than the 2 police officers. That is why the commander himself came, and then he came with some people too. So I think for now, calm is maintained and everything is in order. The EC has started work and everything.
But what do you make of the lawlessness, that went on, the free-for-all fights, right here?
No, I would say
in front of the police.
There were skirmishes. There were no free-for-all fights.
No, we saw the fights right in front of the police.
I didn't see that. There were skirmishes, These are people, that is what, they are brothers and sisters. So once in a while, they just try to push each other, and you see they are calm. So that is how we deal with them, and we are always with them.
Brothers and sisters?
They are brothers and sisters, they are brothers and sisters. You see, they are just talking outside. They are just jubilating.
But they were fighting, or they were fighting as brothers?
I would call it skirmishes.
So they were fighting as brothers?
Each other, they were not fighting.
Okay.
The University of Education Winneba says in spite of the coronavirus pandemic, it has successfully ended its 2019-2020 academic year for all levels without hitches. The university, after a directive by the president for final year students to finish up all the courses, utilize the online management system and other interventions, and brought the semester to a close. At the news conference on the premises of the university, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Andy Brinkran, said the university was ready to begin the next academic year in September, even amid COVID-19 pandemic. Richard Kojanyako has more.
The university from the middle of March to the 5th of July put in place a Learning and Management Organization Committee headed by the Pro-VC Professor Andy Brinkran. The university has today ended the semester successfully after the utilization of the system that rolled up all staff and students to achieve some good academic and management outcomes. Pro-Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Andy Brinkran, says the university is now going through a post-semester process of organizing supplementary examination and research, and by the middle of August, graduation could follow.
The UUW took the challenge. We showed that we have resilience and the courage. We work within our meager resources. We upscaled our servers and systems, even though we need more. But within the limited resources, we have been able to bring the semester to a logical conclusion. And management is thankful to our students and our lecturers for the massive support and learning more interesting. Finally, our students embrace it, and now they are allowed in it everywhere that they go. And the last principle was to put Ghana first. Whatever we did here, we were going to put Ghana first. And so we said that if a directive has been given by the president and the ministry for us to explore online activities as an alternative way of teaching and learning, we're going to do it because we're putting...
The university did not only finish up the courses of the final years, but all levels from level 100 to 400. Finishing the semester successfully has boosted the confidence of the management of the university. 2020 and 2021 academic year has been planned for with or without coronavirus, according to Professor Andy Brinkran.
Now, if the pandemic continues in its ravaging form and we are unable to come to school for in-person, we have also made plans to upscale our servers to levels where it can accommodate all students, no matter the number. And so between now and September, management is working hard. Of course, we know also that we are having some fantastic support from government. Other initiatives have come from government where they are trying to put all universities on a common platform. And we have had some memos from them working in that line. So whichever way that you look at it, one, the new normal indicates that the learning management system has come to stay. If we come back to school, we are going to combine the two, hybrid system. If we don't come back to school, we'll still be able to teach using the online, and our students are out there to testify to how successful it has been so far.
The learning and management systems the university says has come to stay, and a hybrid form of academic activities has been adopted by the university and would continue to be so. From Winneba for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyakun reporting.
And before we go, the Minister of Communications, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, has rejected claims by the minority in Parliament that she erred in directing the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to close down 3 of its 6 digital terrestrial channels. The minister, in a letter written and also dated 26th June 2020 to the Director General of the GBC, gave the corporation 60 days to shut down 3 of the channels and hand over the space back to the ministry. Government says digital terrestrial platform is at its maximum capacity of 40, and the directive is to ensure the leftovers government could use in times of emergency for national broadcast. Now, the minority member of Parliament on the Communications Committee, Samuel George, says the move is an interference in the work of the state broadcaster and is asking the National Media Commission to step in.
Does the Minister for Communications have the authority, the legal mandate, to instruct the GBC to shut down 3 of its channels? The GBC is not an agency under the Ministry of Communications. The GBC is under the Ministry of Information. We would have loved to see a directive from the sector minister. This is akin to the Minister for Interior writing to the Chief of Army Staff, instructing him to release military men from the 5th Infantry Battalion, when the Minister for Interior has no mandate or control over the Ghana Armed Forces. That's the Minister of Defense's remit. If the Minister for Communication did have any need for channels, the right procedure would have been to request of her colleague minister, the Minister for Information, to respond or do what she wanted to do. So we want to understand if the Minister for Information was in the know, because we see in the letter that he was copied. It was not a joint letter written by both of them. The next question we want to ask is, what is the reason for government's need? We are told that the DTT is, if you read the minister's letter, she says that the DTT is at full capacity and government does need spectrum. Well, if government needs spectrum, the ministry should rather be focused on completing the digital switchover. Because when they complete the digital switchover, you're going to have a lot of white spaces, which is additional spectrum for governments to use. I mean, this is, for want of a better phrase, a lazy approach at trying to get spectrum, if really the need is spectrum. Because if the need is spectrum, everybody knows that when you do the digital switchover, you're going to get a lot of analog spaces that national security, whatever government considerations, in fact, it's going to have considerations for bandwidth in the country and speed of bandwidth. So the ministry should have rolled over or done the switchover in 2017. It's 3 years and over late, and the ministry is finding shortcuts to get spectrum. Again, we want to understand what the real need for spectrum is. Another question we want to ask the Ministry of Communications is this not another example of state capture?
Well, so that's it for the news. But Elizabeth Drua of Ghana Commercial Bank, Kaswa branch, you're celebrating your birthday, and Delson of the National Health Insurance Authority says have a great day and have a happy birthday. But that's where we end the news. We'll be back with the review of the newspapers next. Well, so we're exploring Ghana, and we're exploring all things right here. So we have a lot of issues on the front pages, but it is your birthday today. Elizabeth Udruwa, you are with the Kaswa branch of the Ghana Commercial Bank. This one is from Delson of the National Health Insurance Authority. And he says, I have a great birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right. And Mamavi is here. Mamavi, how are you?
Hi, Roland. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. It's what do you want to say?
I wanted to say we have Gifty joining us.
Okay, so say that.
Okay. But the way you asked, that's why. Well, we have Gifty joining us as well. Gifty, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. Mamavi, it's good to see you. How are you?
Yeah, hi. Good to see you too, Gifty. I am doing well. I am well now. Yeah.
We thank God. Welcome.
Well, thank you. You're looking different this morning. I don't know.
Hey.
Like, is it because I kind of miss you?
Let's talk about it. What do you see that you haven't seen before?
Well, I think maybe your braids new to me.
Hey, Mamavi. Walk there.
She's looking different, or you can't see.
Maybe because it's been a while you've seen her.
Okay, all right, cool.
I think so.
Yeah, let's have lunch today. Come in early.
Okay.
Lunch within social
Roland. Nobody's inviting you to this conversation.
The whole week you said lunch is on you. So you couldn't even buy egg for me yesterday. So I mean, I don't know.
Because I only have lunch for
not even
those who are celebrating their birthday. If you celebrate your birthday, Charlie, your lunch.
Oh wow! I see. You promised on air that you give me lunch was on you.
I didn't.
See, because we need to be different from
Roland can promise many things on air and deliver zero.
Yeah, you need to be different from the politicians.
Okay, maybe I'm learning their traits. You know, sometimes when you mingle with people,
help you.
Their features tend to influence you. So.
All right, let's do the newspapers.
Okay.
I have the Daily Graphic, the Chronicle. Gifty, what do you have?
I actually have the Daily Graphic too.
Okay. All right. I'll give that graphic to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, no one can take graphic from me. So I have the Daily Graphic newspaper banner headline: Government releases 70 million cedis to schools money for academic interventions, practical, technical examinations. And there's a picture of Professor Kwesipo Amankwa, who's the Director General of the Ghana Education Service. And I'm going to try and attempt to read the first paragraph. It says that government has released about, it mentions the amount for the smooth take of 2020 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE. And out of the amount, a number of that, okay, Mamavi will help me with that as we go along, but I was trying to read the first one or two paragraphs, so we understand. But that story is on page 3 of the Daily Graphic newspaper. And on top of that, that is on top of the banner headline, you have graphic Do Ghana Travel Festival Emancipation Day launched, then police delegation in Yendi over divisional commanders expulsion. That story is interesting. It's on page 16. I have no idea exactly what it's about, but it's a very interesting story to me. Okay, so that's the front page of the Daily Graphic. Let's turn to the back page, take a look what is there. CSIR Copia inaugurate rice tomato experimental farm. The story is by Rejoice Lavinia, a clue. And it comes with a picture of some people holding on to something that I'm sure is supposed to help with the experimental farm. It'll be an interesting story to read as well. The businessman supports 100,000 households in Northeast region. The story is by Mohammed Fugu in Nakbanduri. Yesterday, we also did a story from Northeast there. There was supposed to be a sitting by the National House of Chiefs over a chieftaincy dispute that's been pending for a very long time. It's been suspended indefinitely as the people are asked to, file in their documents and all. So from the Northeast is how I end the Daily Graphic front and back pages. I've got the Daily Dispatch, Mamavi. I only have the front page of the Daily Dispatch. I'll tell you what it says. Banner headline, you're saying something?
No, go ahead, Gifty.
Okay. Banner headline, battle to win more seats in Parliament, cause of electoral violence. That story is on page 2. It looks to me like some analysis of what's happening, at the registration centers, as well as what generally happens with electoral violence. Then beneath the banner headline, you have a story that comes with a picture of Mr. Rawlings. And the story is that AFRC humiliation of Ghanaians was sad, but well-deserving. That's according to Rawlings. And then next to that story is Peace Council condemns voter registration and exercise violence. You have a picture of Professor Emmanuel Asante, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, who is the head of the National Peace Council, chairman of the National Peace Council. So like I said, I only have the front page of the Dispatch. Okay. And there's also the story, if I could just quickly go through before you come in, that Ghana is still on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Ghana Education Service will not cancel 2020 WASSCE, BECE. That story is on page 11 of the newspaper. And Mama V and Roland, you do know that a lot more people are calling for the closure of the schools once again to get the students to go back to school. Roland, you wanted to come in. I'm wondering if you want to give us the back page of the Dispatch from your end. The back page is actually just the movement plan, the program of activities for the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. That's how come you don't have it. So it's basically just an advertorial sort of public service announcement. So what do you want me to do? Go ahead with Ghanaian Times or wait and come back? No, Mamavi will do the Times.
Let me take the Times and the Chronicle, and I'll help you with details of that story in the Daily Graphic about the police delegation in Yendi over the divisional commanders expulsion. Is rather interesting indeed. But let's look at what's on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Increase in mobile money fraud. Swindlers target financial institutions. Bank of Ghana raises alarm. Also, Bernard Mona faces Supreme Court on July 21. Arrest, prosecute persons flouting COVID-19 protocols. The Ghana Bar Association seemed to be either reminding or telling which we have a lot that's not working again. 4 teacher unions demand closure of schools. That comes to buttress the point that Gifty was making there a while ago. That story is in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The full details of that says, according to a joint statement issued by the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, National Association of Graduate Teachers, Ghana National Association of Teachers, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana in Accra yesterday, the conditions and protocols which were to ensure the safety of teachers and students in the wake of the disease, which is the COVID-19 at the schools, are either limited or just not there. It said, although the conditions upon which the decision to reopen schools looked formidable and assuring, the teacher unions were disappointed with the aftermath, which has resulted in rising confirmed cases in schools. In the light of the above, we, the pre-tertiary teacher unions, NATS, NAGRA, TEWU, CCT, Ghana, have no option than to ask that the schools be closed down. But as we've heard Gifty emphasize, the Ghana Education Service, that this ain't happening. On the back page of the Times, Vice President says government to digitize rent control operations, address rent advance. COVID-19 National Trust Fund gives items to 7 health facilities in 3 regions. The Chronicle newspaper front page, after donating 10,000 Ghana cedis for funeral, Ghana Health Service rejects police report on death of boy after yellow fever vaccination. There's a picture of the deceased Eric Ja on the front page of the paper. It comes with a headline. Also, Bruha over GBC channels. Eslowusu Ekofo, Minister for Communications, and Sam Nate George. I guess the different views that they hold on this subject. Bahama claim on allowance is armed contradiction. Voter registration guarantee on sale. Okay, well, that's interesting. You might want to check out the details of this one in the Chronicle newspaper. In the center spread, Cocoa Board staff resume work after fumigation. Calm returns to Banda after registration center clashes, according to the police PRO. And then we know one person has died in this particular incident. And this morning, somebody just said, hey, even registration pony. Can we begin to imagine what could happen in the main election? PIAC urges GMPC to decommission Salt Pond oil field and alcoholic beverages, major cause of hemophobia. No, Roland will have to help me. This is a medical term. You're closer to it than I am. Even he is looking at it. What's wrong, Roland?
I can't seem to.
Okay. We
hemorrhoids, piles.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right.
Cocoa. Should have said cocoa. I don't know why you wanted to mention the English.
She didn't write the story.
Let me take the statement to the last newspaper. Otherwise, Gifty, do you have access to the Daily Statesman?
No, I don't. I think that I am through with what I had.
Okay.
It would have been with the
I think for the want of time, Daily Guide just has Baumia changes, rice, sugar, Buta politics in Zongos. We know that.
Is it the Daily Guide you're reviewing?
Daily Guide, and subsequently, I wanted to touch on this because it's also in the center spread of the Daily Graphic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just because the way you're running through.
No, I just wanted to link it because if you go to the center spread, it talks about the Zongo Development Authority and the things that they've achieved. And that is a replacement for the donations that the Zongos, so to speak, tend to get for rice, sugar, and butter. The Vice President was referring to. Okay, so your pick, Gifty, and what are your picks?
I wanted to help you with the context, and then you can come in. So this is a story that's on the front page of the Daily Graphic, but the details you find on page 16. And it says the Inspector General of Police, James Opom Bueno, has sent a fact-finding team to Yendi in the northern region to investigate the circumstances that led to the Yana ordering the Yendi Divisional Commander to leave the town with immediate effects. And if you look at the background of the story, it says that last Saturday, the Yana reportedly ordered the Yendi Divisional Police Commander, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Peter Ayerezang, to leave the traditional jurisdiction with immediate effect. The overlord gave the command around 5 p.m. and asked the commander to vacate the town before 7 p.m. And that's the details is what the IGP is investigating. But it goes further to say that when the message got to the commander, his response, apparently, according to the story, was that, who is Yana? And this is the question that he supposedly asked that's infuriated some youth group in the area. So that's what the police is investigating now. But we're also told, according to the story, that the commander did not leave. He was given the message to leave around, the message got to him around 5 p.m. He was supposed to leave the town before 7 p.m., but he did not. But there's also a bit about his denial. That's the commander here, who's denying showing disrespect to the Dagmon overlord. There's a quote, all I can say now is that the king is somebody I hold in high esteem. I respect him and I respect the palace. I have always been respectful to elders and colleagues, unquote. The IGP indicated that policing was a shared responsibility. Okay, that's the normal, I don't want to say rhetoric, but that's something that they say. But yeah, I get
and
you.
And it's the daily graphic reporting, Mama B, right?
Exactly, yes, this is the graphic.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be my story of interest to me. It's probably one of my picks, because this is it's a very delicate, it looks to me a very delicate situation. Now, first of all, there is the background to the whole Yendi thing. Yendi is a place, I mean, they've come a long way. It's the capital of the municipality. And we just recently, I think about, not last year, I think about 2 years ago, just saw the solidification of that peace process, which was long coming. People who are 20 years perhaps and below wouldn't have known, Yendi as it is, and they wouldn't have seen that historic, celebration that we saw. And to be able to consolidate the peace that we have in that area at the moment is a big deal. And President Akufo-Addo has spoken about several times this area. I really don't want to see a situation where we're having this friction. It's totally needless and should be avoided by all means possible. I mean, you're looking at a very delicate relationship between traditional leadership and state authority as well. Yana is a big deal. He is a big deal, and I don't know exactly what is happening, but I will call for on the IGP to, as much as possible, give it 200% attention if he can, and just make sure that. And you see that the story is reporting that the youth rose up against this commander. I don't know what's happened, but this is a very delicate matter. And whatever the police can do, they have to do to make sure that there is peace. And I don't know why the Yana is asking a police commander, who is also a state official, to leave the area because he's performing his duties. I don't have the details, but I am worried, and I want us to, take a serious look at this and just make sure that we nip it in the bud, whatever it is that is brewing over there in the end.
Yeah, let me complete what I did say earlier, though. So initially, the story said when the commander was given the message, he did not leave, but after the supposed response angered the youth, he had to leave for Accra for safety and to forestall any clash between the police and the town folk. So we'll see where this gets us. But as Gifty has already said, it's a very delicate issue. It needs to be resolved as soon as.
I would even call for the Interior Minister to step in. I would call for the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, to step in. It has taken us very long and a lot of investment, a lot of resources to get the ND where it is at the moment. And now that we're seeing some development happening, the road.
Unfortunately, Gifty's network is messing up a bit. Okay. But the story also says that the Bureau of National Investigations Director, the Divisional Police Crime Officer, and the District Police Commander went to the Gbewa Palace to plead for the reversal of the order but that did not work. Definitely needs to be escalated to the level where Gifty is calling for the Interior Minister to step in. Roland, is there another story that you want to talk about?
It's just the brouhaha that has now ensued because the Minister of Communications issued a directive, and I see it as a directive to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to let go of 3 of its 6 channels. And I thought what the member of the Communications Committee and member of Parliament for Pram, Ningo Pram, that's Sam John, wanted the National Media Commission to intervene was very poignant at a point in time. I started my career with GBC, and I know the kind of roles that they're expected to play. Left with everybody else, if the GBC wanted to operate like the way everyone else was operating in the private sector, then they would go into the market and compete. But the way it has been established, looking at the regulation that establishes it and its role that it's supposed to play, I believe that there needs to be perhaps some sanity that needs to be brought into this very contentious brouhaha as it is. Gifty too has some relationship with GBC, so I know.
I also do have a relationship with GBC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But there's an update on myjoyonline.com on the same story. So if we can go to myjoyonline.com, I'll give you the angle of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, which says that it cannot have its channels of broadcasting from 6 to 3 on the national digital terrestrial television platforms as directed by the Communications Minister. In a letter to the National Media Commission, Director General of the State Broadcaster, Professor Amin Al-Hassan, said all 6 channels serve specific purposes, therefore none can be taken off. Given a breakdown of their uses, he said all 6 channels are dedicated 24 channels with specified focus reflecting the mandates of GBC as a state broadcaster, a public service broadcaster, and a commercial broadcaster. So details of that, if you go to myjoyonline.com, you find that story featured there. But also on MyJoyOnline, 178 new infections take Ghana's COVID-19 tally to 25,430, with 21,511 recoveries / discharges. Roland will take us through the rest.
Okay, so we have a couple of the stories there that are also as well prominent. And well, MyJoyOnline.com has become the go-to news portal across Ghana now, and well, let's see the stories we have. EC confirms anomalies in figures of Ashanti region registrants submitted to its headquarters, but denies rake plots because the numbers just don't tally. The thing is, the parties are also monitoring, so when you go there, you have a number of concerns being raised. The mother of Dramine, the senior high school student, blames school authorities for son's demise, and then Ghana receives phone hacking tools from the UK, the US, and Interpol, according to Free Speech Advocacy Group, and this has been a concern. Well, they would want to use it for security reasons. Ultimately, you'll see they'll be monitoring what you do with your phone, and that should be a concern.
There's also another story there on myjoyonline.com, which is actually sourced from the graphics. It says 6 persons have been arrested in connection with the hacking of a universal bank in Ghana, which led to the illegal transfer of 46 million Ghana cedis into accounts of 8 persons in different banks. The cybercrime unit of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service arrested a former banker and owner of Adum Sika Savings and Loans Limited, Sam Aqua, and a web developer, James Taylor, believed to be the masterminds of the cybercrime. So details of this one is also on myjoyonline.com. Roland?
Well, Gifty, you have a comment to make. I'm sure it's on the GBC matter.
I have a couple of things to say about a number of things, but then maybe we don't have a lot of time. So
we don't have the time the
GBC, yeah, the GBC thing is quite interesting. I was asking Mama V that what you were reading, was that a response from the GBC?
Yes.
No, okay, it's not a response. This is a response to the ministry, to the National Media Commission.
Exactly, but it's a response from the GBC on MyJoyOnline.
They didn't respond to the ministry.
I think there are questions that ought to be answered as the minority is asking, but I think the minorities also ought to ask exactly what this space is for, or this space that is being asked to be freed is for. The minister yesterday said that when the state national security wants to address the nation, when government wants to address the nation, but that's also something that caught my attention. We do that all the time. GBC is there and can't speak for government. So I don't know, as in government can speak to GBC, get to GBC anytime it wants to address the nation. So I'm not quite sure how pressing that is. That's also a very interesting thing. And I wanted to comment on the teachers calling, the teacher unions calling for the schools to be shut down once again. Okay, it looks like I'm breaking up.
We can hear you all right.
Okay, so I'm saying that it's looking like a very interesting trend that's coming up with the Catholic bishop coming in to say that we need to stop this WASI, BBC, and then we're having the teacher unions coming as well. But the Ghana Education Service seems poised to say no. I don't know how we can get to a compromise on this, but I will call for the authorities to, look at this dispassionately and see how we can make a move from there. Well, I think it's becoming a big issue that we need to give it all our attention.
Well, we have to take a break. The authorities you're talking about have a position, and the position is clear. So I don't know how you want them to come into.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about.
They are not robots.
We're taking a break.
They are not robots. Things change every day. So. Okay, Gifty, thanks a lot. It's a wrap with the review. We'll be back with more, but right now we have to take a breather. We'll bring you sports after this. Liverpool, they lost. Yay.
And just this Monday, July 13, 2020, one person was killed because of a scuffle that was reported in Banda Hinkro in the Banda district of the Bono region. Now, according to reports that we also confirmed with our reporters on the ground, supporters of the New Patriotic Party and the NDC were involved in this. According to sources, the clashes began with verbal confrontations on Sunday over the ongoing voters registration, ending in physical confrontations and then the gunshots. Now, let's hear some of the protagonists in this.
For me, I don't see the presence of the security in Banda, and I don't see the presence of the police, the military and the police, because they are there. But whatever these people want to do, they do it with an ease. So the NDC should take it upon themselves and come down to Banda to come and support their own. It's not about Ahmed. It's the hatred towards the voter people. All this thing that has led to someone's losing his life is because of the hatred towards the Votarians. Because these people have been there, some have been there over 100 years. Some came about 13 years ago. They've been fishing. The only source of market for the Banda constituency is for the fishing community. Why today? Because there is a registration exercise going on. Everybody wants to come from the NPP national headquarters to, from Nana Akufo-Addo or wherever, bringing all the hoodlums to come and attack the Banda people, and now even they can't even move out from one community to the other community, because as I'm speaking, they said there is no movement between Bongase and Banda Hinkro. Bongase people shouldn't come to Banda Hinkro. Banda Hinkro people shouldn't come to Kabrono, and these people shouldn't go where. So if in case someone is sick, if in case...
I can tell you that officially we have not established the death of any person, but we know that the person has been stabbed.
So you can see the political party in opposition is raising concerns. There's a defense from the ruling MPP officials on the ground, and then the police seem to be in the middle. They don't want to become confrontational or to be very much decisive. Now let's get on the stream, speak to Colonel Festus Abuaje, retired. Now you have monitored the registration since it started. These clashes, the seemingly unending tensions that you observe, what are your own concerns over them first?
Well, thanks once again. I think we playing with fire as a nation.
You see, Ayawaso, West Wuogon, it's not too far away in the recent history. There are a couple of lessons that we should have learned. One of these questions is, what do we consider to be a ballot center or a registration center? Is it only the small area that is marked with tapes, where you have the officials and the registration equipment and logistics? Or does a ballot center or registration center include a whole queue that people have joined from their homes in order to come and exercise their franchise? See, the argument of the EC that, and I want to believe that that is the mentality of the police, that when they deploy their men and women, they are only responsible for that small enclosure. And anybody else who left their houses with the sole purpose of coming to register, if the queue is 300 meters, 400 meters, 500 meters, because they have not reached that enclosure, they are not part of the ballot center. Now, that definition needs to be revised. The only reason why we leave our houses to go to register is to go and register. And our presence starts when we join the queue. The moment we join the queue, it is a responsibility of the EC with the electoral security management team to ensure that all of us are safe. The other picture I get from what the police officer said is that his men arrived. Now, if he had the men on standby at the station, why were these men not deployed in force to the respective centers under his control? We need to, yes, we must maintain reserves. That is a principle of operations. But there is no point in keeping the bulk of your men away from the center. And then in the event of confusion, you then rush them to the place. Probably the most worrying observation is that the political vigilantes are well and alive. The Act 999, which said by that act they had been disbanded, is only in name or in word. In practice, we did not disband them. We proscribed them. We outlawed them. We should have gone through certain mechanisms, steps, concrete steps, to ensure that those groups listed in the Act, 27 of them, were physically dismantled, together with their command and control networks, the infrastructure, the weapons and equipment accounted for and handed over to the state, and then some other rehabilitation measures to ensure that those men and women who are members of these groups are found some economic livelihoods. We didn't do any of these, and we thought that by merely passing an act, we had disbanded vigilante groups. The few incidents that we've had show that vigilante groups are still around. And if we don't take steps now to make sure that we address the threat that they pose, I think come 7th December, there might be a bigger worry for the nation.
Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo, you remain in the middle. You do the interfacing, even across the dialogues that you undertake. You're meeting feuding factions. Is it that we're not calling a spade a spade?
Thank you very much, Roland, and thank you for this invitation. I think that we have to come in very hard on some of these issues that are cropping up, because we are calling for peace everywhere. People who are going to register, people who are moving from their houses to go and register, they go with the mindset that this is a peaceful exercise. So to come around and then to call for all these rows and all these fightings, I don't think that it is right. And we have to point it out to the political parties that whoever is instigating, whoever is coming around and telling them to go and meet people and fight them or do whatever, it's not right. And we should tell them in the face that it is not good for us as a nation. And if we are mediating, if we are in the middle, we should tell whoever is at fault that this is not good and we should stop it.
Colonel Abuaji, if you go to the clause 7 of the Act, it's indicated it is an offense for a person to form, organize, or promote the organization of a vigilante group, subscribe as a member of a vigilante group, or act as a member of a group. We had the NDC signing to a pact and saying that after this act, we're deciding among ourselves, especially with the NDC, with the NPP, that we're not forming groupings. And so we're not having individuals attired or in apparel that they could be named subsequently too. But based on your own experiences, how do you think they are perpetrating the actions we're seeing currently?
Well, that's the point that I made, that if I want to choose my words very carefully, the political parties, and in this respect, the two main parties, are not being honest with the nation as a whole. There is empirical evidence that they don't have faith in the very processes that they embarked on under the guidance of the National Peace Council. Indeed, that is why they had reservations even about the act, which was hurriedly taken through Parliament. When we sit back now and we look at the act and we compare the content of the act with the memo that circulated before the act was passed, we see clearly that the act was watered down. In the memo, I think clause 2 required the leadership of the 27 vigilante groups that are listed in the act to write to the minister. And the minister is described or explained, defined in the act and the memo as the Minister of Justice, informing the Minister of Justice that indeed, pursuant to the provisions and the spirit of the memo in the act, they have gone ahead to disband their groups, submit the names of their members, their leadership, and their equipment. Now, that was not done. In fact, that has not been done as we speak. Secondly, the Minister of Justice in the memo, 3 months after, that was in August, when the act was signed, August, September, October, November, thereabout, the Minister of Justice should have written to the vigilante groups and their leadership, asking them to account for their membership and their infrastructure. That has not been done. Now, who is to exercise this jurisdiction? It is the government, it's the state. So the state actors themselves have failed the state. They have failed the nation. They cannot hold the political parties to ransom because the state itself has become complicit, in these vigilante activities. Now, come to the MPC. I agree with what Reverend Dr. Boafo said. See, the MPC as a mediator has a dilemma. The dilemma being that they need to carefully balance their actions so that they are not perceived by any of the parties as taking sides. So if they're not very careful, they might lose the respect, the confidence, and the cooperation that they require from these parties. But having said that, we cannot, and the MPC should not, always keep quiet and give broad brush statements calling on political parties to comply with their code of conduct. No, it cannot continue forever. And indeed, the MPC itself needs to set its own timelines by which, before 7 December, they want to name names and tell the nation which political party, which leaders, which groups conducted which activities in violation of the Act. We need to get serious. Because I've said elsewhere that when we look at all the episodes that have unfolded and are unfolding before our eyes, I can see Liberia happening. I mean, I see Liberia playing out in the current situation in Ghana. All these busing of people and so on, they all amount to electoral rigging. You see, and elections rigging was part of the problem that Master Sergeant Doe had, to the extent that he even falsified his age. So we need to be a bit more careful than what we are doing now. We need to go back and take steps to, indeed, somebody asked me that the parties have disowned these groups. So if the parties have disowned these groups, where did the state get the names, the 27 names from? Did they just dream about these names? The state had intelligence suggesting that these groups existed. And that is why the state went to the extent, through its legislature, to name them and to say that they had been disbanded. But disbandment, I know in practice, as a former peacekeeper, is not an event, it's a process. That process ended with the signing of the Act and has left all the weapons and the financing and everything still in the hands of the groups who are only underground, waiting for the appropriate time. And all those episodes that we are seeing are evidence that indeed, if need be, the political parties have the work and the commitment to deploy vigilante groups.
Reverend Dr. Boafo, there's one thing that we can observe. The NDC has been in power before. Indeed, they have this long-standing history in the Fourth Republic. The MPP too has this history, and they are also in power. The truth is, when you do the observation, the party in power has all thumbs up or all thumbs on the security apparatus. It has made the security forces inactive. Is not the truth? That, well, because the party is in power, I'm afraid, because there's an impending election, the party that I'm protecting is also going to have its opponents coming to power the next time around. Isn't not the reason why the security forces are inactive?
Well, in effect, that might be true, because they have to follow and go by the standards of the ruling party and what they are expected to do in all these activities. And sometimes it cripples them. It puts them in a very tight situation where coming outright and pointing the wrongs within the parties becomes very difficult. Just as the mediators, as my good friend said, we should play our role such that you are not tagged as supporting or condoning and conniving with whoever is in power. And the opposition should also be seen to trust you that this is what is right that you have to do. But sometimes it puts them in a very tight situation where we all see that, well, they should have pointed out, they should have mentioned names, they should have gone straight forward to say that this is the thing. They wait until people are in opposition come out to demand justice before some of these things are mentioned, which is not the right thing to do. If we want to be fair, then we should go straight and point out the wrongs. In fact, if we are pointing out wrongs, we should not be afraid to point it out, because wrong is wrong. We cannot just gloss over them. These are the things that we need to be doing, and that is what will make them independent, and then they could be fair to all parties who are engaged in these things. In any way, we don't want these things to happen at all. So how do we address it? Please let us go the right way. Tell whoever is wrong, whether in power or in opposition, let us be straightforward and tell them, so that we can move on as a nation in peace.
Colonel Abuaji, this is impossible. It's because of the way the appointments are made and how they pay obeisance and loyalty to those who make them kin in their positions in the security structure. Is that not the ideal observation?
Probably to some extent. But if I take the armed forces that I'm very conversant with, obviously, the CDS, Lieutenant General Obedakwa, is not the one who will come down to the ballot station. So even if the CDS has been appointed by this government, even if the service chiefs, particularly the army commander, has been appointed by this government, even if the battalion commanders and the command commanders have all been appointed by the government, it is not these leaders, senior officers, who get to the ground. It is the men and the women in uniform, the private soldiers, the lance corporals, the corporals, the sergeants, lieutenant, captain, let's say. So, if I understand your question well, we need to be a bit concerned, as indeed the debate has suggested, that the manner in which political parties now influence recruitment into the security services must be a source of concern to all of us.
Where do we start?
Look, well, it's up to the state, the nation as a whole. Indeed, it's going to be extremely difficult because by the year, the influence of political parties on recruitment in the security service, and I can speak about the armed forces, is getting worse. You see, so if men and women or political parties pack their boys and their girls into the security services, then of course, in a time like this, those boys and those girls who have been put in the uniform in these services may not call the party that helped them to get recruited to order. They will not deal with those perpetrators. In other words, by that action of political parties influencing recruitment, we are condoning impunity because we have a certain backing of the perpetrators to the extent that the security services don't take action. And some analysts have suggested that there are cases where if you take strong action against somebody who is perceived to be inclined, aligned, affiliated with a ruling government, you'll be posted to the remotest part of this country as punishment. Indeed, your career might be jeopardized unless you are lucky that that government remains in power and is able now, if you like, to see through your appointment. So it's a wider debate that political parties must have the sense that without the state, they cannot act. So it is in their interest, as Reverend Boafo is suggesting, to first of all have peace and stability in the country so that they can continue to exercise their constitutional mandate. But to the extent that these stakeholders have themselves become, through their actions, through their activities, through their utterances in the media, undermining the integrity of the state, it beats the imaginations of all of us. We don't really understand why. But the answer is very simple. It's just because of the inclination, the desire to have access to political power. Because that power then gives you the capacity and the authority to distribute resources, you see. But is that what a state must be, and is that how a state must be run? Obviously not.
Yeah. At the heart of all this is to appease and also call everybody together. Reverend Dr. Boafo, your friends, all of you within the religious fraternity, you make up the National Peace Council, as well as other representatives as well. We have a number of them making up the Peace Council, the Catholic bishops, we have the Christian Council, the Ghana Pentecostal Council, and all these people who represent both the parties that have occupied the presidency or the executive arm of governance in the Fourth Republic. They go to your churches. They go to your mosques. You never call them to order. You just play the lip service.
Rolanda, thank you. We do call them to order. We do call them to order. For that one, I must say that we do, in the sense that in the preaching, in the pastoral letters that come from all these religious bodies, and even as you read from the Christian Council, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and all other religious bodies, that is what we have been preaching. We preach peace. We tell them that this is the way we all have to go, and it's peaceful. We want a free, fair, credible elections, and that is what has been hammered on again and again and again. When they come to church, you know that the church is made up of all these political parties. And so in standing and preaching, you give them that this is what we all looking forward to. You are seeking for power, political power, to rule the people. This is the way God will want it to be. And that is how we all have to do, and we all have to walk and go. So we have been very, very apt in saying that, look, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. And that is what we call on all political parties, whether they are NDC, MPP, NDP, or whoever. Every political party has a root somewhere in a religious body. So we call on these people that this is the way. Whether they come to see you privately or you go to see them or they come to you, you are preaching to them in a general place. And it is not only to the political leaders, it is to the generality of Ghanaians, because they are the same people who are coming into the church, who are coming to form these religious bodies. So all that we say, in fact, from the beginning of this year, that was what the religious bodies started preaching until COVID came, and then we relaxed a little bit. But it is coming up again. And all the monitoring that we are doing, we are calling for peace. We are calling on the people. Sometimes we do things going to them individually, talking to them, and making sure that we all toe the peaceful line. As men and women of faith, that is what we have been praying for. And we pray that things like Liberia and Rwanda will not happen to Ghanaians. We pray for peace. And we appeal to these people that let us have peace. Because if the people live in peace, then you can also rule and rule well. If there is chaos, there is no way you can have your peace to be ruled. So why do we foment and call for war, rumors of war, where people live in fear, where people cannot come out? Then your rule cannot even be successful. So for us, we preach to them, we hammer, and then we tell them that this is the way we have to go. Peace, 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 and that is it.
Yeah, peace is good. You have been a peacekeeper before, so you know that preaching it is important, but it's the actions we have not taken. What actions should we be taking? Because yesterday when I spoke to you, I said I wanted to have this interaction. You said, look, how many years and times are we going to have this conversation?
Exactly. Well, I think in the statement that the National Peace Council put out a few days ago, they acknowledged the contribution of the security services, i.e. the police, in some instances, taking proactive measures to diffuse, de-escalate tension. That is the right thing to go. So, in general, the politicians are at home, they are in their offices. The security personnel who have been deployed to ensure safety, law and order around these centers must do their work professionally, without fear, without favor. And if indeed they're going to be punished for that, that is fine. They would have gone down on the record that at least they maintain professionalism. If the security services do not act professionally, with authority, with thoughtfulness, forcefulness, and forthrightness, they are letting down the entire nation. But let us come back to the political parties. They need to show responsibility and act responsibly because they are major stakeholders in the welfare and well-being of the entire nation. So the leadership of these political parties cannot, give the impression that they are not the full soldiers and therefore they have hardly any responsibility to play. They must call their boys and women to order. And indeed, the actions of some, I suggested somewhere that if the NPC and religious bodies and traditional leaders and political party members at the tactical level, at the level of the centers, can come together and form small groups, then they can, build confidence and be able to also diffuse, some of these things. Lastly, let me add that I mentioned impunity. If throughout our history, during the Fourth Republic, there have been myriad, umpteen times that political vigilantism has read its head, and we cannot count on our fingers 5 persons who have been dealt with according to the law, then of course we are condoning impunity. Because the idea is that it doesn't matter what you do, there will be a big man who will come and take you out of the due process. So maintaining rule of law, ensuring rule of law is also part of the equation. The preachers can preach. And the only reason why they preach, the reason why people go to church every Sunday and the mosque every Friday is to be reminded of what it is that they have to do. But we know that humanly speaking, we will not do the right thing. So when we don't do the right thing, what happens? Is it the preaching that must continue, or the state must now exercise its primary responsibility to ensure that people are dealt with in accordance with the law? If we're not going to do that, let's scrap this Act 999. Go hitherto, the act is only on paper. It is not working in practice. And it's not working for the number of reasons that Reverend Boafo and myself have tried to suggest. There could be many, many, many other more reasons.
The Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, in their recent report on the phases of the exercise that has started so far, entreated the Ghana Police Service to ensure that they swiftly prosecute any persons who violate electoral laws to serve as deterrent. And they observed in the following. Yesterday, when I was going through their report, it's quite significant, even according to what we've also done. In the afternoon of July 4, 2020, there was a confrontation at a registration center at Sakasaka Police Station in Tamale, where a political party activist is said to have brought people outside. Again, busing being a key thing. When you move on, there was observation that a number of instances where political party executives and leaders kept trooping in and out of centers were worrying. Now, they said in one instance on June 30, at a registration center at Elubo in the Jomoro constituency, it resulted in a physical fight. They move on. When you go to Akachi North, in EPJHS Janlele registration center, you get to find that a registered voter and a party agent got also into a physical confrontation and a fight. And the challenge was over the collection of his or her voter ID card and whether he was from the area or not. Now, just here, Amasaman, I'm sure it's close to you, Colonel Abuaje, a registration center at the District Magistrate Court in Pokwase, a suspected foreigner was arrested by security officers for attempting to register. And during the interrogation, well, either of the two parties had their agents in a scuffle or fighting. Your last words. What do you make of these? As we give some caution to the parties. Let me start with you, Osofo. You have not been telling, you've only been preaching Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we preach Jesus Christ because he is peace. He is the source of peace. He is the source of tranquility for the individual and for communities and for the world. And that is why we preach him, so that we can all live as he lived. But I also want to add that the adherence to the law of the state is also paramount, because for all that we are saying, we have enough rules, we have enough laws enacted in the country that can deal with it. We don't have to go and bring new laws to guide us, because for whatever offense is committed, there is a law that can deal with it. So if we would only go by the rules, we will go by what we have said. These are the principles by which people can live in peace, by which people can go out and come in, live comfortably in a nation. Let those who are enforcing the law enforce it to the letter. If these things are done, we would all have our peace. Because if people are fighting, if people are passing people to registration centers and they are from outside the district, why do we look on and not arrest whoever is doing it? And those who are even arrested. And we have to be swift in all these things. And just as Colonel said, if we have prosecuted 1, 2, 3 people, it will scare people to also continue to do it.
Well, the police are afraid.
I will also say that let us have this Act 999. Let us do the education properly, because sometimes it is up there. Down there at the grassroots, look at all these places who are fighting. You don't see people who understand even the law coming into it.
Okay.
They are the people who think that, oh, we are still in the old dispensation where vigilantes work. Vigilantes can operate and operate with impunity. Let us do the education properly and let them understand that, look, if you go against the law by this, if you are still in the vigilante, then you will be arrested and prosecuted.
Okay.
And then you will be sent to jail if you are found guilty.
Okay.
1 or 2 people, then these things will stop. These are my words, and I pray that we will continue in peace. For that one, we will preach it as faith-based organizations or the religious bodies, and let the security people also do their work. And we know that we can have a peaceful, credible, fair elections.
Colonel Aboagye, your last words.
Well, let me associate myself with what Reverend Boafo has said, but my last comments will relate to the responsibility of the EC to ensure that this process is successful, strictly in accordance with the letter and the spirit of our electoral laws. Now, unless the EC takes that responsibility, it's not going to succeed. So even the security issues that we are raising fall at the doorstep of the EC. Because the EC, with my limited understanding of the security architecture around elections management, is the head of all of these bodies. I would wish to suggest, like Codeo has said, that the EC gives periodic reports, briefings, updating the entire nation on how the process has been going, what problems it has identified, and what measures it is putting in place to address those issues, especially the infractions. There's one example, I stand to be corrected, but in the media, there was a report about very huge discrepancies in the numbers registered as accounted for by a political party and the EC's own numbers. So you're talking of 7,000 now becoming 20-something thousand. You see, and I don't understand how the EC can say that this was an error. Even if you play around with the numbers, 7,000, you don't get from 7,000 plus to 24,000 or thereabout, or from 5,000 to 14,000. Some of these episodes now get people to think that there is an agenda that is being set. You see, and it is the responsibility of the EC to ensure that the truth comes out. Who falsified the numbers? And those people, if any, responsible for that must be dealt with. Now, lastly, let's remind ourselves that all of this is taking place in the age of COVID. And you would have expected that if nothing at all, the threat of the COVID would have put some fear in us. Now, all the infractions that we've seen, the altercations, the fiscals, and so on, are all enhancing the spread of the COVID. But at the end of the day, the state that allowed the process to go on must be the same actor that ensures that there is compliance with the protocols. In that respect, I don't think the state is doing very well, although not every registration center, has found itself in such circumstances. We should try and prevent a situation where after the process ends in early August, we then get a huge spike in the COVID cases. That is not what I think Ghanaians are looking for. That we sacrifice our lives just to go and register and not even be able to go and vote.
Okay.
And even if, I think these are the few remarks that I would wish to make at this point.
Thank you very much. Colonel Festus Aboagye, retired, helping us do this interesting and educative discussion. And then the Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena Boafo. Well, thank you also. Two of you have been immense this morning, and I hope that you all did enjoy it. And well, next we have a conversation with Kwabena. Kwabena knows no holds barred at all. So we're opening him up. Mama Viosa Aboagye is having that interaction. We know that he has been immense in Ghana's musical industry, especially contemporary high life. All that is up next. Stay with us.
Getting out with us, and he's joining us via Zoom. If you can hear me, Miss Edru, morning.
Morning. Good morning. Otemenka.
Where are you? Like, that's a good background.
I'm home.
Oh, nice. So tell me, these days, what do you do? Just hang out in your house?
Yeah. I hung in my house. I go to the studio. Yeah, because my studio is quite a bit private. I work at Mix Station with Kwame Yeboah.
Okay.
And then on the weekends I work at my lounge.
Nice. I see you've been getting yourself busy. So has anything changed? I mean, COVID is keeping everybody from doing the regular, but what you've just listed sounds like what you would have done even if there was no COVID.
The only thing missing in is the concerts and traveling and doing what I mostly do. I mean, all around the year. But then, all in all, I would say we still do what we can do best to actually make things happen. So yeah.
How would you view the whole music industry? I mean, it's been about 4 months now since everything has become a bit different for us. How would you, if you were to measure what we've achieved, have we even achieved anything in music within the last 4 months?
To tell the truth, I don't think our industry was prepared or has been preparing itself for times like this. Because if you look at our digital platform and how it's managed and how we even go about data and everything, you cannot lay your hands on proper data or any mechanism put in place to actually help any musician sit at home and be able to assess everything that we do. I know my other colleagues might have their own opinion, but everything we do is like an individual thing. It's like a collective kind of thing. And it's not like we're not together and we don't have anything. We all come under as an umbrella. So yes, it's been quite difficult as far as the industry is concerned, but individuals, I know everybody got his game going and everybody knows how to move around and do his things. So yeah, but then for the industry, I mean, if there is one, I don't think we have one. In my opinion, I don't think there's an industry.
So we didn't even have before COVID-19.
Yeah. So we are going on and on like that, and there's nothing like as we speak right now. Have you heard anything from the government or from any group which actually would say we are responsible for the arts and this is the measures we are putting in place to get artists to kind of get their works done here, done there, push it here on that platform? Have you heard anything like that?
Well, there are a number of groupings. I mean, we've got the Creative Arts Council now, at least. We've got music.
Did you say
Are you
now?
a musician? Yes.
You said now.
We've had it for a while. Yes.
Okay, so now. You know what I mean? We don't wait for things to happen before we behave like we are trying to do something. I'll take a word from one of our ex-presidents. Say, if you pretend to be working, we also pretend to be paying you. We always pretending we are doing something, yet we are doing nothing.
Are you a member of Musica?
I would say I am a member, or I'm not a member. I have a membership card, but in a very long while I've not really paid attention to what's going on out there, because trust me, like I said, we pretend we are working, but we are not working.
We'll come back to this, but the whole idea of hanging out is so we can know you a little more. So tell me about where you grew up, Kwabena.
Okay, I grew up at St. John's.
As in this Achimota?
Yeah, Achimota, Mount 7 area. That's where I grew up. Yeah.
Okay, and how was it like growing up in the particular community that you grew up in?
It was fun, I'd say. A lot of fun. There were lots of other estates around us. Tantra Hill is around us, CFC estates around us, and we had all kinds of, when I say all kinds of Ghanaian level of status, let me put it that way. We have the estate boys, we have the ones who, uncompleted buildings, money. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so were you more of a Dadabi?
And yeah.
Were you more of a Dadabi living in an estate?
No. I wasn't a Dadabi. I was let me say a Dadaba with hard labor. Let me put it that way.
Okay. So at what point, did you pick up the guitar or music in those times, or maybe secondary school?
I picked up the guitar after secondary school. Matter of fact, I started with the drums. I was playing the drums a bit, and because of my love for vocals, I realized that playing the drums and singing at the same time, the drumming takes a lot of energy. So I switched to the guitar so that I would be able to do my vocals at the same time. So I switched to guitar after SHS. That was around 1994.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started playing. I had a friend. His name is Elias Vosa. Anywhere he is. Shout out to you, man. He's one of the guys from the beginning who actually made me love the guitar, because he always carried the guitar everywhere he went. And he was my friend. Like we always hang together. So he started teaching me bits, and then I also picked it up.
What kind of person were you back in school, secondary school? Were you into entertainment? Were you the guy who was always singing during entertainment?
Yes. Everybody in St. Peter's at the time, I say would not be surprised that this guy is a musician today, because I was that guy. Like, I'll perform for my class, I'll perform for my form, I'll perform for my house, So I was that guy, and I played volleyball for school too. I'm a good volleyball player.
So were you still doing the love songs? Were you singing the love songs to the boys?
No, you see, it's quite unfortunate why, I'm only noted for love songs, but that's okay, because I think most of my songs, or the greater percentage of my songs are love based, but it's because of the way we promote music in this country. You release an album and the radio DJs only play just like a song or two on the album. So at the end of the day, you are branded like that. But if we would take time to actually listen to albums, take time to enjoy albums created by artists, I believe we can understand their diversity and how diverse they can be. Let me put it out.
Well, but you guys are also to be blamed here as musicians because you release the singles. And so sometimes we don't, unless you get the entire album, what you put out yourself as in terms of to promote the album are usually singles.
Yeah. I for one has always released an album after a couple of singles put out there. I think the highest number of singles I put out there before an album is like 3. Yeah, because my last album, Shese, right? I put out even 2, just 2. And then I put out the album, had wonderful reviews. Big entertainment pundits in the country has actually, given a wonderful review to the album. But I hear a couple of songs. Yeah, I can say I've heard about 4 or 5 songs off the album. But there are other songs like Ephebia, like a song like, what do you call it? You know what I mean? Obiasa, sorry, I should say. Obiasa. A song like Obiasa is one of the songs I coined for the youth of this country to actually pay attention to, because it talks about everything that we are going through as a youth right now in this country. But we didn't pay attention to it.
You mentioned the last album. You were supposed to be working on something new because it's been quite a bit, right? It's been a while.
Yes. Famisa is ready. That's the new album. It's called Famisa.
Okay.
Famisa.
When did you get the album title? Because I remember my very last conversation with you, I was trying to drag it out of you, but you insisted you didn't have a title then. So when did this one come?
Yeah. It came as a couple of weeks ago, because you realize that we are 15 years in the industry, and it looks as if we have a difficulty appreciating the little somebody has done in this country. It looks like.
What makes you say so? What is it that you want to see that we're not doing?
It's not peculiar to me. It's not peculiar. It's across board. Politics, sports, music, everywhere. Because I mean, if you could see behind me, I have a graffiti of a legend, Asamoah Gyan, on my wall.
Oh, I can see that just a little bit. Yes.
Yes. And I celebrate this man every day because I'm a football lover, and I remember what he did for us at the World Cup. Even from 2006, the first World Cup we went in Germany, and then 2010. And what breaks my heart is 10 years on, I was on the internet, and I see people actually trying to remind him of something I can say personally that breaks his own heart up until today, because he would have played in a semi-final of the World Cup. And how many African players have played in a semi-final of the World Cup? So Ghanaians, let's ask ourselves, who wanted that better than him? We watching football in our homes, did we want it better than him taking that cake, which will get him in the books of the history? And I can understand Ghanaians because we don't respect anything. So we don't cherish anything. And that is the reason why when he missed the penalty, instead of us consoling him and trying to even console him out of the fact that he couldn't get a chance to play in a semi-final of a World Cup, which no African player has done before, we sat in our homes and we even tried to beat his mother.
So
we must be ashamed of ourselves.
I see you saying that we kind of dwell on the negatives.
Yes,
we remember
so when
the
it
negatives.
happens to me, when it happens to me, because guess what? There are so many people in Ghana. So it's okay. We must appreciate the little people do for this country.
So
the little we do for ourselves.
15
we must
years,
appreciate.
15 years, how many albums?
5 albums. Album number 6 is about to drop. It was because of the COVID-19, and things slowed down a bit. We were supposed to release in July. No, we're supposed to release in April, matter of fact.
Okay.
So we want to release. We want to release in August.
Okay, great.
We want to release in August. We're releasing the full album, Famisa. It's a 10-track album. So guys, check it out. Go on iTunes, go on my page, KBKB Music, on Instagram. It will lead you. I mean, there's a link on it to lead you to my iTunes.
I was just going to ask you, 15 years in the industry, how would you have loved that we see you or celebrate you or talk about you today?
The only thing that can define me is my music. Because that's the only thing I'll say Ghanaians know about me. Apart from that, until I put myself or my private life out there, you wouldn't be able to know anything about me. So I feel that we should celebrate the good works we do or we put out there. It's very important. It's the only motivation you can give me. The only motivation you can give me is to appreciate the works I have put out there. And then I'll keep on going because I'm a musician and I can only be a musician and an entertainer, I should say. So I want to entertain you guys. So support.
Absolutely. But Kwabena, you also know that for people like you, we call our celebrities and people want to know a lot more beyond just the music. So every little thing that you do also becomes the news. So let's talk a bit about you as a family man. Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about, are you married, girlfriends? Because that's what people, beyond the music, people are also interested in knowing all of those things.
I'll tell you something. Also, it can be about how Ghanaians, how we hold things and the space and everything and how we handle our things. So it's not even interesting to put out there your private life and things you feel you want to share with your fans. It's not even healthy because we always are looking out for something that's going to make your family go like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
So I hear you saying that because of all the negativity, you don't even like to talk about your family.
I have 3 kids. I'm a single man. That's all I can say.
Are you looking though? I mean, once Kwabena says he's a single man, everybody wants to know. So can I apply? Can I post you?
No, I'm not searching. I'm not searching. I want to concentrate on my career for now. And there's a lot that I want to do as far as my music career is concerned. I can say that it's a time where I really, really need that kind of break. So yeah.
As in break from relationships? Because if you say you're not searching, then it means that you're already occupied.
No, I didn't say I'm occupied. I said right now I'm occupied with music. I'm occupied with I have lots coming. And your COVID-19, I'm touring out there,
Okay.
COVID-19 by all means a bit trim. So, and we are still preparing with my band, the Protege, an offshoot of the Ohiabeya band, led by Kwame Abua. So we're still preparing. We have a couple of virtual concerts coming.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the concentration.
All right, great. But I can't talk to you without talking about recent developments. What's the relationship with you and Ahofe Patri?
She's an industry colleague.
Okay. Beyond that, there's nothing.
Nothing beyond that. But we have a beautiful industry. I talked to you about the industry. We have a beautiful industry where there's a lot that we need to do to actually get us all protected. You know what I mean? Because, so I call on all my colleagues out there. Yeah.
When
like
you hear
Mama,
people,
you are my colleague.
I get it. But when you hear people say all sorts of things about you, I mean that you do drugs, you introduce people to drugs and things like that. I mean, how does it make you feel, and how do you get people to actually know what is true?
That is an allegation. That's an allegation which is in contention. So let's not talk about that because it's how legal issues are like. So. Oh, so
you're pursuing this legally.
This is what you call it's a platform where so things I'm doing I can lay it out there.
Okay, I respect that absolutely.
Let me say that it's unfortunate that we have such a space where that's all we want to talk about. Who slept with who, and who slept behind who, and who went where. You look over our internet. Aren't we ashamed? Marvi, take like this morning, go on our internet and look at the trends.
Yeah,
it's shameful.
For me,
it's shameful for me.
So let's talk about this album. And you said this album is hitting, is going out in August.
Yep. Famisa is going out in August. you know, and it's going to have a song like Voice Note. I've already released Voice Note, which is a single. Yeah, I've already released Tokro. You know, I've released two singles off the Famisa album. So Tokro is out.
Why do I always laugh when you say that?
Say that again.
I'm just saying, why do I always laugh when you say Tokro?
Tokro is whole.
I know.
Tokro. We'll see. What was that, Mama? Mama, you are an ever, right?
I am.
Yeah, can't Tokro ever. We say I want to learn that.
Okay. I'm minimum readily. Patrick, help me, my producer. Edo.
So when I say Edo, what have I said?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Ho. Okay, I just spoke English. Ho. Okay, let me speak Ghana. I'm taking krabu.
What is mounting?
Mountain Bepo.
Okay.
You see, once I catch us, our mentality and how we react to everything is the problem.
I know.
That is what the problem is.
Listen, I know all the angles. Me, I love you irrespective. So thank you for hanging out with us here on the AM show today. We'll look out for that album coming out and all the virtual concerts.
It's been wonderful with you, Mami. Thank you so much for having us. Hey, thank you, guys. Say hello to everybody. Thank you.
All right, sure.
And stay safe, guys. Stay safe. You know, let's all go through the protocol. I mean, whatever the president is asking us to do, guys, let's obey.
Oh, Kwabena, just listen. Kwabena, 30 seconds. Are you still into the politics in 2020?
I'm out of politics. Thank you.
Be my vice president. That's Kwabena hanging out with us here on the AM show. Stay with us when we come back. Well, listen, how about we introduce you to a few properties? Let's see if we can, or if you haven't been able to complete your house or bought a house, let's see if we can make some arrangements. Who knows? Before the end of the year, you could be in your own home. Stay with us.
Now we have regulars on the show, but they are into the properties market. We're talking about Waylead Properties. I do have their reps right here in the studio. Emmanuel Nyako is here with Waylead Properties. Thank you, Emmanuel, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Also, Safin Siao is also with Waylead. Now, straight away, let me get into the conversation. I know we'll be showing pictures alongside all the things that we have to do. As we look at it in the folder, as it's titled Houses of Sort. But what do we have from Waylead for the market?
All right. So Waylead is a real estate company that we've been on the Ghanaian market for some time now. But we are not just a local company in Ghana. We are an international company. We have branches in US and China, Shanghai. We've done over 23 million square feet of projects, both residential, retail, and then commercial properties. In Ghana, we've successfully completed our first project, Vista de Mar, which is 100% sold out and moved in. Our second project, Le Jardin Symphonique, is about 60% completed, and we are still on it. We have homeowners living in there. And our new baby, Alphabet City, too, is on course that we will complete before the year ends. So basically, we are doing townhouses and apartments. That's what we have now at a prime area, Sakomono.
Are they affordable?
Yes, they are really affordable. Really, really affordable. You know, so far we have sold so many houses, and that should tell our people that the prices we are affording to the market is affordable. So we are asking each and everyone looking at us now to take a bold step and come to us, and we have a good deal to give to our customers.
But if people want to get to you, then they have to reach you, right?
Yes, please.
How did they do that?
All right. So the good news now is that we are not just saying that during this COVID period, walk into our houses. Of course, if you can make it, that is fine. If not, you call any of our numbers on the screen. You call any of our numbers on the screen, and then you can reach us. Our numbers are 0240 11 1119.
Yes.
0240 11 1119. and 05044999999.
And they're on the screens.
Yes, please. Those numbers you can reach us on those numbers, and then you can reach us on those numbers. And the good news is that the moment you reach us on those numbers, we can send you a virtual tour, so you get to see how the compound is, how the project is, and how the rooms are. You can actually do a tour of the entire project. You can actually do a tour of the entire project. You can actually do a tour of the entire project online. So you get to see the rooms, the washroom, the kitchen, anything that you want to see. Through our virtual tour, you will see those things and be able to know what we are giving out. If you can come to, we have all the safety protocols in place that you can walk into our offices, but we make sure that you are in masks. We have some of the masks that we will give it to you at the gate. You wash your hands and you go in, you don't touch anything in there. Our sales executive will open the doors and everything for you to do a tour successfully. So that is what we are offering the market.
Yeah, they can also as well, visit our website, www.waylead.org, and send us an email. We respond to them accordingly.
Okay. What's the terms of payment? These days housing and terms of payment.
All right. So the good news that we are offering the market is we are not asking you to bring the bulk money. What we are saying is that we are giving you between now to 24 months to be able to own one of our townhouses. So you make a deposit, we can spread it for you within 24 months, then you pay. And somebody will be like, 24 months is too small for me. No problem. Our mortgage partners got you covered. So they will finance up to 80% of the property cost on your behalf and give you between 5 to 15 years to repay. Okay. So 5 to 15 years for you to repay.
Can you pay in dollar terms and CD terms, or?
Yes, you can pay in dollar terms if you're okay with that, and you can also do in CD terms also.
Okay, so again, the numbers on the screens, and for Waylead Properties is just to make sure that they make houses comfortable for you. Yeah. Okay, your last words before we go. Let me start with you, Emmanuel.
All right, and the good news is that all our numbers are on WhatsApp. I know some people are calling, the number might be busy. Just send us a WhatsApp message. Our sales executive will reach out to you. If they need be and we have to pick you from your house to go and see the property, we can do it. We are always there for our customers, so they should hit us up and we will have a discussion with them.
Beautiful homes.
Okay, so to finish with what my brother just said, we are making rooms available considering the number of sizes of your family. We have 2 bedrooms, we have 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and 5 bedrooms. So it doesn't matter your size. We have a room for you. We have a house for you to acquire from us. Yeah.
At affordable rates.
That's why at Waylead we said not just a home, but a safe investment.
Yes. Thank you very much. And that's Emmanuel Nyakon with Waylead Properties, and then also Sefin Siang, who also is with Waylead Properties. But it's where we have to take a break and bring you Showbiz with Kadi.
Good morning. My name is Kadi, and this is another segment of Showbiz right here on the AM show. Now to my very first story. Known in showbiz space as Osebo, CEO of Zara Boutique here in Ghana, has reviewed how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected his business. He also disclosed he doesn't sell women clothing because they always complain about the price. Here's more. Now, the borders are closed and we have the pandemic around. How has it affected you? How do you get more clothes to sell since you can't travel?
Okay, my brother is in Germany and my uncle is in Italy. So I make the orders. He sent me the pictures, then I choose, then I send the money by Western Union. Then he delivered the goods to the warehouse. So my agent will ship them by sea for me.
Okay, so you still do your normal business. The virus has not affected your shipping your clothes in or anything?
Not at all.
What about sales? Do people still buy like they used to before?
Not like before. Now there's no activities. We don't go to church like we used to. We don't go to parties like we used to. So if I'm not going to a party, why should I come and buy a new stuff? Yeah. So it's not easy, but then we are managing.
How do I call it? Is it a dress?
No, this is not a dress. This is normal African wear with a tra. So I decided to wear the top without the tra. That is fashion. Fashion is what you buy, and style is what you do with it. So I bought the fashion because it was up and down. And I made my own style by wearing only the top.
See the clothes that you give to these celebrities and we admire them because they look so beautiful. So why have you limited it to just guys?
I know, I understand. I used to sell ladies' clothes. But you see, they too, like most of them, when they come to the shop, they say, oh, I want original, something original. That is what I will give you. But the price, women prices are no good at all, at all, at all, at all, at all.
Why? They seem to say it's too expensive.
Not really, but they like tisue and you know. So for me to buy the thing high and sell it low, why wouldn't I put a stop to it and sell only a male? That is why I'm only doing gents.
Just because of that.
Yes.
But you can consider at least, because there are other women out there who would still like to purchase. So we need to have a change of mind.
Not really, because those women you are talking about are very few.